Hey there, and welcome to my tutorial about how to draw orcas, also known as killer whales. Despite their intimidating name, they are beautiful and fascinating animals, and very fun to draw. So, let's start! I am planning on drawing a jumping orca, so at first we're going to sketch out the body, and not the head. We draw this long curve, like so, and at the front we curve around, and circle away. Then keep it kind of flat here at the belly side. So here at this part it will be the tallest, and then we narrow it down towards the tail end, like so. And then we want to add here a pointy cap, which will be the head. What we want to make sure is that the length of this whole body is about 4 to 5 times longer than the height. In order to make sure that I have some good looking results for you, I have all the steps prepared beforehand. To understand the anatomy a bit better, let's take a look at the skeleton. It is constructed quite simply. For us, the spine is the most important part. It's more flexible than any other of its body parts. The bones of the flippers are very short and quite limited in their movement. So is their head, since the neck bones are mostly fused together. Let us continue by adding some details. First of all, here, the nose will have just a small dent here, which will separate it from the forehead. We curve around and draw almost a straight line. At the end, curve slightly down, and orcas have a bit of an overbite, and therefore we leave a very small gap here. We don't need to draw the eyes, since they normally cannot be distinguished from the dark skin, but they would normally be located very close to the mouth corner, about here. We can kind of sketch out the shape of the forehead, which is called the melon, here, which will connect kind of with the eyes back here. Even though we cannot see it that clearly from this angle, about right above the eyes around here, at the top of the head, they have their blowhole. While they are not in or exhaling, muscles contract to close off the blowhole. If you want to draw an orca with its mouth open, simply imagine a hinge at the end of the lower jaw, around here. Since they don't really have lips, all we need to draw is the lower jaw moving up and down. Of course, we need to know how the inner parts of the mouth look like. The teeth sit on elevated rows. They have a small gap at the very front. The back and foremost teeth grow gradually smaller. The teeth shape is pointy and slightly curved inwards. And interesting is also the fact that the distance between the teeth is always the same. Now let's continue with the flippers. You have a little corner here and then curve back, like so. And it can be quite long. Then we make a round curve and simply go back to the body. And right about where they reconnect with the body, we make a very strong curve like here. Of course, we shouldn't forget the other one here at the back. And then we draw the dorsal fin, which is located right about where the middle of the body is, and can be quite tall and also triangular looking. Or it curves back and is a bit shorter, like so. In that case, also the flippers would be shorter, and it has something to do with the overall temperature of the waters they live in. And you can also connect the body with the dorsal fin with some very small curves, like so. And then we draw the fluke, which is horizontal and not vertical, like the fish. And at first I'm drawing here this end part, this horizontal end part of the fluke, to get the overall orientation and perspective right. We leave a small gap and connect here in kind of a wave shape the fluke with the body, like so. To get the shape right, we have to make sure that this line here would continue into the fluke, while this one goes into the tail. And then we draw the corners, which are typically curved downwards, like so. Also around here. And of course, do not forget the median notch right here. Orcas more or less always have the same kind of black and white pattern. You can look at these models to see them from various angles. What you have to be careful about is that these borders here and here are quite smudged, while the others are sharp and clear. Also, the spot behind the dorsal fin is darker than all the other white spots. So let us start with the one where the eye is located. We at first draw this little small line here and then curve to the back, like so. Make a small corner and then connect it. Of course, it always doesn't look exactly the same, but more or less this is how it looks like. Also, we connect the mouth corner and the underside of the flippers. The spot behind the dorsal fin can easily be drawn by having a curve, go forward, then to the back again, and then forward, and have a very, very fine line. And then we curve back like so. And this end here will be quite smudged. Then right behind the dorsal fin at the belly side, we will have this spot here curving up like so, and then go around, back down. And there is one more at the underside of the fluke, like so. Again, here is the prepared version of my sketch, which looks much better. And that is how you basically sketch out an orca. It is relatively simple compared to many other animals. Most of what comes after this stage is up to you and your style and tools. However, I can explain a few things about shades and light reflections. Here is the line art I did. I can't really explain much here since these steps depend on your style and tools. Next I did the colors, nothing really special here. When you do the shading, make sure you form the shape of the forehand and the round edges of the fins, like so. You can include some slight strokes here and there to have an indication of muscles. However, the shading on the darker skin will be barely noticeable. Here I added the soft light reflections. The orca here is jumping and therefore above the water. It looks significantly different to one that is underwater. The skin is still very wet, which influences how the light is reflected. We want to create a very strong contrast. Also, do not shy away from adding some lighter spots in the darker areas as extra reflections. Now the highlights. You can see that they are quite irregular, which has to do with the fact that the film of water on the surface of your skin is not distributed perfectly even. When adding highlights to the fins, don't put them at the very edge, but slightly inwards to make them look less flat. Also, go ahead and add some slight highlights to a few random areas. To show how an orca would look like underwater, I made a second drawing. While the time-lapse of its making-of process runs, I will tell you some interesting facts about these animals of the sea. Orcas are considered the largest species of the dolphin family. They live in every single ocean around the world and adapt well to any climate. As being at the top of the food chain, ignoring humans, they have a very diverse diet. They hunt almost anything, even whales, which is part of the reason why they are called killer whales. However, they are not senseless killing machines. They are also very social, playful, and thanks to their high intelligence, they are able to communicate with each other quite efficiently. They use echolocation in order to orientate themselves and locate prey. I explained more about that in my dolphin drawing tutorial. Orcas are used to swim about 60 kilometers a day, sometimes even more than 150 kilometers, and dive over 100 meters deep several times every day. They travel in large groups of up to 40 orcas, foraging and hunting for food. Therefore, they do not thrive in captivity. No member of the dolphin family does. The artificial enclosures don't offer the range and variety they need, which leads to boredom, stress, and also often self-mutilation. These animals are not able to survive in the wild anymore, so it is an endless cycle of dolphins being born and suffering in captivity, and the parks trying to survive. At least, as long as the parks don't change significantly. Alright, this is my finished drawing of an orca underwater. I decided to have the view angle from below because I wanted to show the pattern on the belly. Also, I kind of like how the shimmer looks like from this perspective. When underwater, the light will come from above and cast a shimmering water texture onto the skin. You can achieve this effect by drawing kind of a cell-based pattern with wobbly lines and many different sizes, make them quite blurry, and add some brighter spots at the intersections. Do not forget to follow the shape of the orca's body and let the pattern fade out at the sides. Now it is your turn to draw gorgeous looking orcas. I really enjoy drawing them, and you will probably too if you give it a try. If you want more tutorials about marine mammals, then you can check out my playlist about them. The link is in the upper right corner and the description. So far, bottlenose dolphins are already a part of it, and I'm planning on making a tutorial about blue whales too. In the further away future, I might add more to this playlist. I certainly would love to. So let me thank you a lot for watching. As always, if you have any questions or constructive feedback, then please leave a comment down below. And for more information and links, please check out the description of this video. There's quite a lot in there. Alright then, have fun drawing.